Go.
All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you for checking in on the Renewed Mind podcast, where we talk about healing, faith, and mental wellness for everyone. So, who's ready to grow, glow, and rest in God's peace? We are Rochelle and Barbara. We created this space because we know what it feels like to carry so much to show up strong for everyone else while quietly struggling inside. But we've learned that healing isn't weakness, it's a holy work. Here we'll have real conversations about renewing your mind, breaking free from burnout, and walking boldly in purpose, all while staying grounded in your faith. You'll hear encouragement, honest stories, and practical tools to help you care for your mind, body, and spirit. So, whether you're driving to work, winding down from a long day, or just needing a reminder that you are not alone, this is your moment to pause, breathe, and be poured into. So, grab your journal, grab your tea, and let's start this journey to becoming renewed in your mind. So, here we have Miss Rochelle Lynn. Thank you so much, Rochelle, for joining the podcast today. Um, we appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. So, could you please share a little about your journey and when you first became aware of your mental health challenges?
Yeah. So for me, it was 2019, September 3rd. I had a hysterectomy where my uterus was removed, but I've kept my ovaries. And my OBGYN told me that I will not enter into menopause early. She said that my hormones would be fine, and that is all we were doing was removing the organ that hosts the baby um, during pregnancy. And so it was just like an organ removal. Nothing really was going to change. And within that week, I had my very first panic attack. I can remember it like it was yesterday. I was pacing back and forth in my hallway. I
Mm,
I was about to die. I
wow.
was spinning. I felt like I was leaving my body, like my spirit was leaving my body. And
Wow.
I was just in a panic. I couldn't calm myself. I couldn't
Wow.
like sit down and be still and like catch my breath. And so I called 911 because I literally thought I was dying. And they came and got me in the ambulance. I had small children. I think my kids were like 6, 8, and 10 at the time. And they were kind of pacing around and jumping around and nervous and whatnot. And so I get in the ambulance, and I think a neighbor had came and got my kids. And as we were driving, the hospital that I went to was about 15, 20 minutes away. In that they gave me the oxygen, they didn't give me any medicines, but they had did the blood pressure and like were just checking me out. And I remember starting to feel better. And I was like, oh, actually, maybe I don't have to go. Like, I feel better. Like, I don't think I am dying. And the guy
Okay.
just looked at me and was just like, no, we're still going to take you to the hospital. And so they took me. And then I got there. My parents met me up there. My husband met me up there. And they were running tests and whatnot. And I did feel like completely better by the time I was there. And so then the doctor came and told me that I had anxiety. And I was like, no, 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 no. This is not anxiety. I was like, I thought I was dying, like something was happening. And I had just had that surgery. So I did want them to check and make sure everything was good with the stitches and all that. And and he just smiled at me and was just like, that was anxiety that you experienced. And I was like, what? And I always thought anxiety was just worrisome, concerned, like you're just overly concerned about something, like maybe a friend didn't return your call. And so you're just kind of obsessing about it or kind of worried about it. But
Right.
to feel like you're going to die, I didn't expect that to be anxiety. So that was
Wow.
of my mental health struggles, or at least that was, I should say it this way, that was the beginning of my awareness of it.
Wow. So you felt like you were dying and you called the 911 and they were
Mhm.
able to come and assist you. And then you was like, oh, well, I feel better. So take me back home type of thing. And they was
Mhm.
like, no, we're still taking you to the hospital. So that's a pretty serious panic or anxiety attack. And is that how all your anxiety and panic attacks feel? Or was that just the first time and then the first time thing and was, I mean, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, that was the first time. And generally, if it's an attack, it is that feeling of panic and like something, there's like this dooming, impending doom of something terrible is about to happen. Like I'm about to,
Mhm.
some the sky is falling, like literally, like because sometimes everything becomes black. It starts peripherally, and then it just kind of becomes black. And then my breathing, this that's been very rare where I'm hyperventilating or I can't control my breathing. Usually
Wow.
I control my breathing. Uh,
Mhm.
but it's mostly just the dizziness and the
Wow.
feeling of impending doom, like I am about to, like, this is it for me, kind of thing. And then there's an anxiousness that's with it where I'm pacing or I can't sit still. I can't get, it's almost like I'm trying to catch myself to calm down and I just can't catch myself. And so that's typically what those attacks look like for me.
Wow, and that's every single one. So, with that being said, do you like take anything for your anxiety or um do you just do the deep breathing like you stated? What do you do to get yourself to calm down?
Yeah, that's been a journey too. So I started going to my primary care doctor after that first one because then it was like almost a daily thing of me having these panic attacks, and if not daily, every other day. And so when I went to him, he was trying to tell me I had depression. And I was like, no,
Mm.
I just get these moments where I just get this panic like I'm about to die. And it took me probably a year of going to him and seeing him like once a month, once every other month, because they were, I felt like he wasn't hearing me. And I kept going back to the same doctor. And I guess I was just expecting a different answer going back. And so he would always tell me, like, you need a therapist because it's depression. And he didn't
Wow.
really mention anxiety, but the ER doctor did. So it took me
Wow.
about a year before I got to a therapist because I was looking for, no, just help me calm down and like, what should I do to calm down? But he was saying that I needed to go talk to someone to work through whatever trauma I had been through so that I could come from a place of healing. And I didn't understand that. And so then I find myself working with a therapist and we are
Mhm.
going on rehashing a lot of childhood trauma that I had that's something that I have not relived or that I have not thought about and things like that. And so we're just going over different memories in my childhood, things like that. And then we're kind of not getting anywhere because I also had deep brain fog and I would be talking in circles kind of and like forgetting what I said, just a lot of different things. And then she saw the depression, I guess, on me and the sessions and whatnot. So then it took her probably about 6 months to convince me to go to a psychiatrist to get medication. And I actually went back to my primary care doctor first and told him I needed medication. And he prescribed me a medication. And that medication had me throwing up. I was dizzy all the time.
Goodness.
Eat. I couldn't sleep with it. It gave me insomnia. And so
Wow.
I went back to him and was like, I can't take medicine for this. Like, and I thought that
Mhm.
was one. I was like, I'm gonna have to find something else because this is not gonna work for me. Like I couldn't do anything. And so
Right.
then I went to a psychiatrist and he had
Uh-huh.
explained to me that as a primary care doctor, he is not trained to give medication. He's kind of thrown a dart in the dark with choosing the medication for my symptoms, whereas a psychiatrist is trained and you tell them your story and they can pinpoint a specific medication that will help those things. And that's may have been why I was experiencing those symptoms. So I went to a psychiatrist, and the very first medication dose I took for depression and anxiety, I
Mhm.
felt the relief for the first time in my life of that dark, heavy cloud that would just kind of sit right here. And it was just a moment of, oh, I am depressed. And it was a moment, and I just remember feeling like, oh, I am anxious. Like I do.
Wow.
And that was a moment where I kind of accepted, like, okay, I am dealing with some depression, anxiety. Now, the hysterectomy,
Mhm.
I still believe to this day that something changed in my body when I had that surgery.
Okay.
Maybe it was my body just couldn't hold the way that I functioned with depression and anxiety, and having that hysterectomy just made it exasperate, or I don't know. But I just know that 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 surgery really changed things for me. And so yeah, so now today I'm on 4 different medications for depression and anxiety, and it helps me cope in a major way.
Okay. So you said for the first time in your life you felt like that heaviness was lifted. So were you feeling those heaviness when you were younger, like when you were a teenager, or what is that? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I should clarify that that was actually the second time,
Okay.
because when I was 11, I met the Lord at the altar. And so I was
Uh-huh.
11 years old. My grandparents took me to church with them every Sunday. I was getting active in the church with the youth. I was doing a lot of different things.
Uh-huh.
And my grandmother told me, you're doing so much in the church. It's time for you to become an official member. So after the pastor gives his sermon, he's going to ask for anybody who wants to join the church to meet him down at the altar, and you need to go down there and say you want to be a member. So I said, okay, I'll do that. So I was ushering upstairs, and I wasn't really paying attention to the sermon. I was 11 years old, and I remember just kind of up and down the steps and walking around, taking care of the different needs of people upstairs in the
Uh-huh.
balcony. And then when he had finished his sermon, he had said the doors of the church were open and to come down if you want to join the church. So then I run down the steps, and I asked him, or no, I met him at the altar. I think I was the only one down there, and he had whispered in my ear, "What did you come down to do?" And I whispered back, "I want to give my life to Jesus." And I had no idea where that came from. And he looked at me and he was like, "You do?" And I was like, "I think I do." And all of a sudden, this fire had started from the crown of my head, and it just started going um, from my head to my toes, back and forth. And that was actually the first time where that cloud had lifted. And it was like the sky was blue, the trees,
Wow.
green, and the trees was very green. It was
Wow.
of 1992. And so it was a hot summer day, and it was just everything looked more clear, like and crisp, like I had new glasses on. And I even remember
Wow.
looking in the mirror and like, oh, wow, I am a pretty girl, and just looking at myself differently and seeing myself differently, and just everything in my little 11-year-old world changed. And it's like the music that I listened to, I threw out the cassette tapes I had, the friends that I was hanging around with, I told them I couldn't be friends with them anymore. And it was just like a lot of different things just changed organically for me. And that was one of the biggest changes, is that cloud had lifted, that that was hanging around me for so long. And I didn't even, and it was actually my normal. I didn't even realize that I had a
Wow.
cloud around me, that was just, it was, I thought everybody felt that heaviness and whatnot. Like that's just life. And
Yeah. So
so,
you were under a depression.
yes, I was under depression, and the Lord delivered me then. And then fast forward to 2019, I'm in my late 30s, and I took that medicine well, that was probably 2020, 2021, where I take the medicine and I feel that same release of that cloud again. And
Mm-hmm.
so there's something in between there where depression had came back and I didn't even realize it had came back, or that I was functioning, because I'm a productive person, and so I was probably high functioning with depression. And um and so that's when, and now I can feel it. Now that I've been on the medicine for a while, it's still around, it's still there. Like I can feel the cloud and whatnot, but it was like my normal for so long that I kind of pushed through it.
So, were there any warning signs or events? Well, you said that you had that first event as a child,
Yeah.
when the heaviness lifted because you accepted the Lord in your life, and
Hmm.
um, then the second one is when you actually took the medication. But were there any warning signs of depression, like besides the cloud? No, no other warning signs.
Can't think of any other warning signs of depression in my life. And maybe that's because, just like with anxiety, I had the idea that if someone has depression, they are always sad, they're suicidal, they sit in the dark a lot, they don't want to go anywhere. Like I have probably the
Yeah.
worst case scenario in my head. And so because I wasn't experiencing that, I was like, I don't have depression. Like I'm not in the bed all day. Like that's not what's happening with me. Like that's not what I'm experiencing. And so I probably, well, what I'm thinking is that I just pressed through the
Yeah.
feelings of the warning signs without even
Uh-huh.
realizing that's what I was doing. And so there is a fatigue that I fight daily, and there is a gray cloud that I fight daily. There
Wow.
is a sense of dread that I have that's like it's like a daily battle and a daily thing. And there is sometimes there is some deep sadness, like I've been crying for hours, but I hadn't shed a tear, but it just my face feels like I've had tears running down my face. And
Wow.
sometimes I have this feeling like my emotions have been scraped somehow, almost like I was
Mhm.
riding a bike and fell and scraped my knee, but it's an emotional scraping that I feel. And so there are some things that are a bit weird and strange, and I find a hard time explaining it, like a scraping of the knee and my emotions, but it's there. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it's, I feel like it's always been there and that it may just be something that may be hereditary or genetic. But I'm learning how to live in the opposite way, which is just as much work as like depression hitting you and you've had joy your whole life. But it's just as much work learning how to live in joy and break ties with depression.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you have any specific triggers that often lead to your panic attack or anxiety attacks?
That's been my last, what is this, 2025? So I've been trying to figure that out for the last 5 years. What are my triggers? And I don't have any specific triggers. I do know that for a few summers, there was, when I became heated, I would for sure go into a panic attack. But that has not been consistent recently, this last summer. And there are things like if I take a hot shower and the doors are closed and the fan's not on, so the room is very steamy, I will for sure go
Mhm.
into a panic. And so I've just learned to not do that and to like ventilate the room and whatnot. And then if it's hot outside, I've learned to carry a fan with me and things like that. So but that's really the only thing that's consistent is me being overheated in that way.
Okay. So, how has the fear of having a panic attack, sometimes called anticipatory anxiety, impacted your daily life and decisions?
Yeah, I have had that. So the fear of having a panic attack has caused me to cancel things because I didn't want to have a panic attack if I was there. because I don't know my trigger and because I don't know what to expect. And so, like, I remember this one weekend, my brother lives in Oklahoma City, and I was supposed to go visit him, but I had had a panic attack that Thursday, and I was supposed to leave Friday, and I canceled because I was like, I might have another panic attack, and I don't want to be away from home, and I'm dealing with anxiety. Because the other thing is the medicine that I take, that's when I get a panic attack, the as needed medicine is an itty bitty pill, and it knocks me out for like 2 days where I am asleep.
Wow.
And if I do get up to eat or go to the bathroom, I just feel really drowsy and groggy. And so I was just like, man, I don't want the weekend to be me sleep the whole time while I'm there. And so with him, uh, and so he had explained to me, I think months later,
Mhm.
how he felt like anxiety was getting in the way of me like coming to see him, and he was really disappointed. And I remember getting off the phone with him and was just like, you know what? I'm not going to let anxiety dictate that anymore. So I'm not going to cancel or rearrange my life around anxiety or the possibility of me having a anxiety attack or a panic attack, because I might have it, and maybe, and I think that's part of me opening up about sharing what's happening to me with my mental health challenges, because it may be helpful for my family to see, oh wow, she's really going, the whole time she visited me she was in this spiral, or she's really having a hard time, instead of hiding and staying home and just isolating myself.
Yeah. So, so when you was gonna go, was your fear having a panic attack or anxiety attack while driving to Oklahoma? Was that your fear, or was it just you didn't want to go out of town, period, because of your
Hmm.
panic attack or anxiety attack?
Yeah, it's both. Yeah,
Both.
I've had
Okay.
panic attacks while driving, and I've had to pull over, and and then not being at home has been a panic, and having a panic attack can be hard. Being in a public place and having a panic attack is really, really hard. And
Wow.
so having being out in public, like if I'm in Oklahoma City and I just go to Walmart and have a panic attack, that's just, for me, it's just all the more harder to navigate. Um, and I don't know, I don't want people to, well, after that first initial, I called 911,
Uh-huh.
I've gotten like, oh, well, I don't want to go to, I know that I'm not dying, even though my body is saying I am dying. And so if I am pacing in the store, in the aisles of the store, or we're at the mall or whatever we're doing, um, it's just, I don't know, I guess just kind of weird. And it's like, no, I want to be at home. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
kind of embrace, and you know what, with me embracing that I'm not going to let anxiety control or dictate what my schedule or my life,
Yeah.
I haven't had so much of the fear of having a panic attack. That's actually less
Uh,
a little bit
That's
since.
good. That's good for people to know, because once you embrace your situation, you learn how to deal with it. You learn how to cope. So, yeah, that's really good stuff.
Yeah.
So, how do the symptoms of anxiety and depression manifest in your day-to-day life? Are they constant, or do they have come in waves?
Yep, I definitely have symptoms that come in waves. And so for me, I'm kind of the opposite of most people. The summertime is the height of the wave of me having just a hard time with depression and anxiety, of feeling completely exhausted. The chronic fatigue is really weighs on me. I do get more anxious in my bones. It just feels like my arms have like this buzzing, like tremor, and
Wow.
I my chest has like a kind of like a buzzing tremor, and I have to take, it seems like my medicine has to go up, where I have to take more medicine because of my symptoms. And I try to prioritize my therapy sessions and just self care, doing more
Yeah.
of my routines and whatnot, and getting the sleep that I need, getting the water that I need, just all the things in the summer. Whereas the winter, it's like I'm usually in the winter, I'm pretty good. I hardly have any panic attacks in the wintertime. And I do pretty well in the winter for some reason, whereas most people are the opposite. When the
That's
days
true.
are shorter, they have a harder time with depression in the winter. But for whatever reason, summer, my favorite season of the year, it's really hard for me. And so, and I haven't figured that out. Me and my therapist are trying to figure out, well, why is that for you?
Yeah,
And
because
yeah.
yes, because most people they have depression during the holidays. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know because they maybe they lost a loved one during the holiday, or maybe that's the reason why I'm not a doctor, but maybe that's the reason why you probably have depression in the summer. It's a maybe you lost someone in the summer. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there, just to be throwing it out there. Okay. So, what does a good day look like for you now compared to before you started healing?
A good day when I started healing was just not having a panic attack. That was a good day. Now,
Okay.
a good day is me doing things that actually take care of me. And so, a good day would be I got my steps in, I exercised, I ate well, I hydrated myself well, I took some time for myself, whether
Hmm.
that's me reading a book I enjoy or me getting some quiet one-on-one or quiet me time where it's just me. And so those for me, that's more of a good day. And then of course not having a panic attack, but
Right.
really a good day now is for me to take care of myself.
So, is there a difference between a panic attack and an anxiety attack?
For me, it's the symptoms are the same where I am having a hard time being still, I'm dizzy. The only difference is with panic, there's this fear of dying. And then with anxiety, that's not there, but I'm doing all the other stuff. And so for me, that's been the difference that the panic is comes with the fear of dying and it's, oh my God. And I feel like I'm leaving my body, and it happens at any times. Like when I'm driving, one time I was asleep and in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden I felt like I was leaving my body, and then I woke up in a panic. And so and there was a time at church I was in the middle of worship, enjoying myself, and all of a sudden I'm in a panic attack. And so
Wow.
it's not a I know it. I wish it was kind of a this is my trigger, so then I would avoid that. But it could be when I'm having a really great time, enjoying it, and or I'm asleep and have no idea what's going on. And it's just
Yeah. It
yeah,
just comes at random.
yeah. And it could be either the panic or the anxiety.
Wow. So, how do you take care of your mental health on a daily basis?
Yeah, I do things. My children are very zealous about me overcoming anxiety and depression. And so my oldest son has me in the gym with him every day. So I'm riding on his coattails of motivation to exercise at that intensity. And then I enjoy daily walks. I've gotten in the habit of that rhythm of walking, helping my brain calm down.
Okay.
Um, I do have a dietitian, and I'm getting a new dietitian that I'm hopeful that will help me with some eating habits to eat well and to find a way for me to eat in a way that's helpful for it to lessen anxiety and depression in my life. And then there are times where I'll just sit outside in the sun. I've done that more the past couple of months than I have ever, where I just kind of leave my phone, leave the TV, leave everything inside, and just come outside and just sit in the sun in a chair for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And that seems to really help. My,
Yeah.
it's like a reset almost. And so, yeah, I just, on a daily basis, I do that. And then when I start to feel the tremor feeling in my body, I've learned some tapping things where you kind of tap here at the collarbone and
Uh-huh.
tapping where your amygdala is.
Uh-huh.
There's something to it that really helps with calming yourself down. And so, in the midst of feeling that, I'll start doing this tapping. And I don't know if it's a distraction in my brain or if I'm really pressing some nerves or something, but it helps to help me calm down. And so,
Wow. That's
yeah, I
awesome.
do.
That vitamin D and having accountability to work out, all of those things are perfect for a healing journey. So it's almost time to close. So
Yeah.
what messages do you want to leave, I should say, with other women who are struggling silently, or not just with women, but with men as well?
Yeah. I personally had a silent struggle, and I would say find someone that will give you the confidence to speak about your story with, and find like a safe space to speak with them. And then once you practice sharing your story and saying your what's going on with you in that safe space, it may give you confidence to then share with doctors and with people who could actually help you overcome and come out of that. And then another thing I would want people to know is that you're not alone, because when you're suffering silently, it can feel very isolating, and you could feel very much like you're the only one going through this, or this thing is happening to you and everybody else is doing great. But in reality, there's a lot of people who are struggling on the inside, and they can function well on the outside. But
Mm,
so just know that you're not alone. And once you get to that safe place or that safe person to be able to share, then you'll get more confidence to share with others that can help you.
that's good stuff, Rochelle. That's really good. So, in closing, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, such honesty and vulnerability. Your story is a testament to the fact that healing is possible and that faith and clinical care work together.
Yeah.
Um, for our listeners, if anything Rochelle shared resonated with you, please remember that you are not alone. Um, so yeah, before we wrap up, we encourage everyone to mark their calendars for our next episode. Thank you for joining us on the Renewed Mind podcast. Until next time, be kind to yourself, seek light, and keep walking in faith.
Amen. Thank you.